So in this lecture, we will be discussing regarding the CPU architecture, as well as we will differentiate and I will describe the differences between CPU and a microprocessor. So let's talk about the CPU. So as we all know, the CPU is the brain or heart and soul of the computer, which executes the instructions. Basically, CPU executes the machine level instructions. The instructions which are available to CPU in the binary form. So the exact idea regarding the instruction and its structure and instruction set, later we will be talking about this thing. But right now, we are actually concerned with the CPU architecture. So how CPU works and how it is related with the external computer components. That means how it is interacted with each and every elements or components of the computer. So in this lecture, let's talk a little bit regarding the CPU. So as we knew, CPU performs the bulk of data processing. Every time the programming is running on our computer, it will be the task of the CPU to execute it. So as I told, CPU performs bulk of data processing. It's the heart and soul or brain of the computer. So we will be knowing little bit regarding the CPU, how it is originated basically. So entire CPU nowadays is contained within the chip called as the microprocessor. The complete chip, the processing chip, responsible for the operation of the central processing unit of the computer. So what CPU does actually, whatever operations are performed inside the computer, so CPU is responsible for activating and controlling all the operations of all the units of the computer. Whatever calculations are performed during the execution, it will be performed by the internal component of the CPU, and its architecture varies from one design to another design. Now the thing, CPU and instruction set. So as I told, CPU executes the machine level or low level instructions, which will be the exact structure of the instruction we will be talking about later on. So whatever program we write by using our text editor or editor available for writing it, this is basically in source code, and the corresponding compiler or interpreter or any other translator software program translates our high level program into the low level programs, which in turn into the machine level program. Low level language or program consists of the assembly language as well as the machine language also. One of the compiler, the C compiler, actually first converts our source code, the code written in C language, into the assembly language first. Then it will be converted into the corresponding machine language. So, but rest of the compiler need not to do this thing. That means C compiler first converts the source code into the assembly language before converting it into the machine language. Before converting the source code into the assembly language, C compiler having a inbuilt preprocessor, which you can see in C language. So which that preprocessor converts the macro or preprocessor directive into the corresponding expansion. That means the macros or preprocessor directives written like file inclusion, has include, has define, and other macros, they are converted into the corresponding expansion by the C compiler. Then it will be converted into the assembly language, then into machine language. So what is the exact format of the instruction? Later we'll be talking about that. So instructions having two parts, opcode and operands. So which will be the part of our later discussion. So CPU basically executes the low level or machine level instructions coming from or bringing from main memory inside it. That means from main memory, the instructions comes into inside the CPU. Then the CPU analyzes and processes it and performs the back operation. That means after performing the results and something else, again the result can be sent to the main memory. So this is a processor chip, the Intel P4 processor, which is a microprocessor chip consisting of many pins. And each and every pin is having its own purpose. Similarly, the processor from another company, AMD Athlon, they looks like this thing. So they are only the overview. This picture don't show the internal configuration or internal structure of the CPU. Only the overview, how a processor looks like. So for any processor, we are having a slot inside our motherboard. So every processor fixes inside that available slot. And accordingly, the different pins are connected to the different buses, interconnection lines available on the motherboard for the communication with the external units. Now we are coming to older to new processors. So as the technology advances, CPU, that means microprocessor chips, or better we can say CPU, started to shrink in size. The older CPUs were consisting of large vacuum tubes, which was having the wire around it, which will be taking the huge space. Then came the transistors, which actually reduced the size of the CPU. So after that, the integrated circuits have came into picture, and that further has reduced the size of the CPU. So now the ICs or integrated circuit having the minute pieces of silicons for each and every purpose for designing the internal components of the CPU. Now what the latest processor actually have? Traditionally, or better we can say historically, many microprocessor chips were combined together to form a single CPU. After sometimes the time has arrived where one microprocessor chip was working as a single CPU. But nowadays, we are having logically more than one CPUs inside a single microprocessor chip. So modern machine or modern computers having the CPUs, that means the many logical CPUs inside a single microprocessor chip. For example, the dual core processor. It has two logical CPUs inside single microprocessor chip. Quad core processor, four logical CPUs inside single microprocessor chip. Octa core processor having 8 CPUs. So we are having this advancement of the CPU technology from the very beginning of its manufacturing. So that is because of the VLSI, very large integrated circuit. ICs we can have in many form. So you can see the different kinds of ICs inside your motherboard, or they are available in any other electronic devices. So CPU or microprocessor is one of the VLSI, very large integrated circuit, having the many more electronic components inside the single chip, like adder, decoder, multiplexer, and these registers, ALU, control unit, different registers, and as well as CPU also has the internal cache memory inside it. Now the microprocessor capability. So this thing I explained you recently, the quad core, octa core, dual core, core to dual. So now multiprocessors. So modern computers are actually having more than one CPUs in close communication with each other as a single system. So the entire single system is having more than one CPUs or microprocessor in close communication with each other, and that system having multiple CPUs is called as a multiprocessor system. Otherwise, the single CPU computers, traditionally they were called as the scalar processors or the serial processors. But multiprocessors are generally used for the multi-programming, or better we can say parallel processing. So examples for these, a standard name for these multiprocessor systems are vector processors, array processors, parallel processors. For example, the supercomputer. This is what? A parallel computer or multiprocessor system having the capability of processing the things in parallel. So processor is characterized by the different parameters, the clock speed. CPU is having a clock inside it. So whenever we see the quotation like 2 gigahertz processors, this is the clock frequency, gigahertz. Bus speed, the CPU is having the buses inside it, that means interconnection lines inside it, which communicates the different components inside the CPU. As well as CPU is also having the interface circuitry in the form of bus management unit or input-output unit to communicate with the outer components. That means the components of the computer which are outside the CPU. Inside the CPU, it is having the internal buses, the communication lines. By using the internal buses, the entire circuitry or the each and every component of the CPU inside it are interconnected with each other by using these lines. So manufacturing process, number of transistors, cache memory inside the CPU, and external addressable memory. So external addressable memory can be different from CPU to CPU. For example, in 8085 processor, as it was the it was having the 16 address lines. So 8085 processor was able to address 2 raised to the power 16 memory locations, and 2 raised to the power 16 comes out to be 65536. That means 64 KB memory. So addressable memory for 8085 microprocessor is approximately 64 KB. Then we can have the 8086 microprocessor where it was having the 20 address lines. So by using 20 address lines, it can address 2 raised to the power 20 locations. That means it comes out to be around 1 megabyte of memory. So now latest processors, they are the 32-bit or 64-bit processors. So accordingly, the memory can be addressed. So this is a simple picture of a modern CPU, which is having, you can see from this picture, this is the ALU, arithmetic and logical unit. This is the FPU. Later I will be talking about the FPU, functional point unit. Then it is having L1 cache memory here for used for data. Again, later we will talk about the cache memory. Then register inside this unit, the set of register is there. It is instruction unit having the entire instruction set. Here, this is the control unit, which is responsible for generating control signals for the operations of the computer. Here, this is the L2 cache memory. So generally used for the instruction. Sorry, L2 cache memory. And this L1 cache memory for data and L1 cache memory for instruction. These two outer blocks, they are the L1 cache memory. L1 cache memory is supposed to be the faster than the L2 cache. It is near to the CPU than the L2 cache memory. And this is the input-output management unit, called as the bus management unit also. So this unit is the interface circuit for communicating the CPU with the external world. External world means components outside the CPU. So now components of the CPU. So CPU consists of the following main functional units as its internal parts. Firstly, control unit, which is the control section. Arithmetic and logical unit, the ALU. Third, registers. Different type of registers are there. Cache memory, that is internal to CPU, as it is clear from the previous slide. You can see L1 cache memory divided in two parts, the separate cache, L1 cache for data and for instruction, then L2 cache memory. Here the memory interface circuitry and input-output interface circuitry by using this input-output management unit, the input-output interface circuitry. This memory interface circuitry is for the CPU to communicate with the main memory, because main memory is the memory which a CPU can directly access. So whenever the main memory needs to be accessed by the CPU, it needs the interconnection lines, or better we can say memory interface circuitry. Now we can talk about a little bit regarding each and every component of the CPU. Then in the next lecture, I will talk about with all these internal CPU components in more details. So let's have the brief idea of what each and every component of the CPU does. So come to the ALU. So ALU basically the arithmetic logical unit, the inbuilt calculator for the CPU, which is responsible for the computational task performed inside the CPU. Because this ALU is having each and every basic component responsible for arithmetic and logical operations. For example, for the addition subtraction, it is having the adder subtractor, For multiplexing, the multiplexer, decoder, and for complementation, it is having complementer. For comparison, the comparator is there, and different registers for different purposes. So different operations can be possible, and or exclusive or addition, subtraction, multiplication, etc. Apart from the ALU, it is having a separate floating point unit, FPU, that performs the complex calculations which cannot be performed by the ALU. So this is the little bit regarding the ALU. Now come to control unit. So task of control unit to regulate and control the various operations of the computer. That means whenever an operation will be performed, suppose we need to add two numbers. So addition of two numbers will be performed by the ALU. Inside the ALU, adder is there. But ALU is there, so ALU needs to have two input values in the form of signals. So signals are, in next lecture, we will talk about this thing, but signals can be data signal, control signal, address signal. That means control lines, address lines, data lines. These are there to energize or to activate the different functional unit inside the CPU to perform the desired operation. So it is the responsibility of the control unit to activate and control the various components regarding different operations. So control unit actually generates the control signals for the entire computer system to be performed. Next, we can have the registers. So registers are the internal memory, internal computer memory. That means memory available internal to the computer. So, internal CPU memory. Memory available internally to CPU in the form of registers as well as in the form of cache memory. Cache memory, I've talked a little bit regarding this cache memory. Registers are again the very fast memory and very small memory, which stores the data, instructions, results, and any other information needed by the CPU during its processing. So there can be many registers inside the CPU, and name can be different depending on CPU to CPU. So registers will be directly connected with the internal components to the CPU. The bus management unit, as I told recently, this is input-output management that manages the flow of incoming and outgoing information inside the CPU to its outside world. And from CPU to outside world, information actually goes to RAM, or CPU directly access the RAM, random access memory. So this internal, this management unit, bus management unit, is having the interface circuit to communicate CPU with the external component of the system. So in fact, memory, ALU, and this IO unit, they manage and coordinate each other for the computer operation. So by this, we have completed the discussion regarding the CPU architecture, internal structure of the CPU. In next lecture, we will be talking about the detailed description of each and every component of the CPU.